but it is him. Really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and before this show gets underway, we would like to take this time to show our respects to our fallen and still serving. Lest we forget, for Anzac Day, let's take a minute's silence. Thank you to the families and friends of the fallen and still serving. We appreciate everything that they have done for our country. Let's get on with tonight's broadcast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and sim racing fans of all ages. Tonight's broadcast for your Tuesday night is the simrigs.com V8 Supercars Am Series. Tonight we are round 3 of season 2 of 2023. Tonight we are coming to you from Virginia International, thanks to Dragon RC. Tonight you have myself, Nathan ShiBBy Howard, and our other producer, Hamish Munro. How you doing this evening, mate?
Mate, I am absolutely ecstatic to be diving in to SRW Supercars amateur realms, if you will, in terms of racing and seeing the action that these talented Supercars drivers can show us here tonight at VIR. Of course, you know, I'm well adversed in watching Supercars action, being a commentator for V8 veterans, as a couple of drivers in the series are known from being a part of as well. But super excited to be here and super happy to be on the call with you tonight, ShiBBy.
Well, mate, I'm glad you know something about commentating V8 Supercars, because I have no idea. I'm usually just the guy that does the cameras, but here I am since the beginning of the season. Had an absolute blast with it, mate. So let's roll with it, and I think we're going to have a great race tonight with 23 AM drivers out on track tonight. Huge influx for the amateur series, which is great to see. So plenty of competition out there, mate. Anybody you would be looking at to keep your eyes on this evening?
Well, I think, you know, there are a couple of people out there that you definitely want to be keeping your eye on. One person that I know has got some serious pace on him on his day is Troy Sipple. He was the winner last season of the Split 2 Championship in Vets, went up to Split 1 this season. And on his day, he's got some incredible pace about him, and he's incredibly consistent as well. You know, and there are some days that he makes some mistakes, but there are others where he just comes out of nowhere, and through strategy or through some incredible on-track action, he makes his way up the front. And I think he is someone you've got to keep an eye on throughout the race, because he's almost like a flea or like a bed bug. Not to compare him to an insect, but you know, you think you forget about him, and then suddenly you've just got this scratch and he's right there going for a move down the inside on somebody. So yeah, he's definitely got some pace about him.
Well, mate, at the moment his best time in practice has got him sitting in 5th, so I'd say he's pretty happy with that at the moment, as practice session only has less than 2 minutes to go. Be interesting to see him come out in qualifying, so keep an eye on this man, Troy Sipple. This is Hamish's one to keep your eyes on tonight. If you guys want to shout out any of your team members or who you think we should keep an eye on tonight, let us know in the comments. We are always reading, always ready to interact with you all. Practicing will be over soon, and we'll be heading on into the racecraft qualifying session.
Interestingly enough, ShiBBy, I mean, apart from Tyson McAvoy, who's just done a bit of a showcase lap in his GT3 safety car out there, the top 7 cars all separated by less than a second in this practice session so far. Now, I know that's not completely telling when it comes to supercars and certain circuits. You know, some people just don't do their best times in practice. Sometimes they're good for that one lap in qualifying, but it's really good to see the spread of talent throughout the whole field and how close it actually is in each of the sort of different sections throughout the standings. I mean, your top 7 within a second, and then even a couple of other sections, you know, they're within a second of each other. So it's great to see the talent and how close it is.
Definitely, mate. These AMs drive just as hard as the Pro Am Series. These guys are all out here to put it on the line and win races and hopefully take the championship. So the battles right from first place down to 23rd place tonight will be heated. We always see some great battles, even holding up the rear, especially with the Sinkovic boys. They love holding up the rear, so keep an eye on the whole track tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are heading into the racecraft qualifying session right now to get our round 3 up and running. And tonight it is a sprint session.
So for those who don't know, sprint sessions normally, in terms of racing, you know, we have the one qualifying session and then we have 2 races. The results of the first race, well, they get reversed, and then the next race, that's your starting grid for the race is from last to first of the first race. That's then from first to last at the start of the second race. So it's going to be incredibly spicy throughout tonight's proceedings, because you know, there's a whole heap of spanners in the works that can get thrown in when you've got some of the slower guys at the front on the start of a race, and you've got the really quick guys at the back wanting to push their way through. Sometimes the things can get a little bit hairy, but sometimes, ShiBBy, we can also see some absolutely cracking moves happen at some incredibly fast and furious corners around the circuit.
Oh, definitely, especially being VIR. This is a well-known track across most sim races. Again, love seeing the V8 Supercars at tracks that they just don't go to. So it always gets me excited to see it, and I still think we need a V8 Supercars World Tour. I really do.
I think the beauty, or I guess one of the big missed opportunities that Supercars had was when they went to the US to do the race in Austin, Texas, was they didn't push to try and get an American Supercars series up and running alongside maybe NASCAR or whoever overheads the motorsport landscape of the US, because there would have been such a great opportunity there to have teams in the US who maybe do IMSA, NASCAR or IndyCar commit to doing a supercar series where they work with guys in Australia to build the cars, and then they go out racing in some of these iconic American circuits. You know, I mean, I think of tracks like Mid-Ohio. Would have been fantastic to see a supercars race there. So, you know, I think missed opportunities, alas. I think at least we get it on iRacing, ShiBBy.
Oh yes, indeed. As the time start rolling through, Tim Nichols with a 2, Bradley Wall with a 1.58 straight off the bat, looking good. I do want to quickly bring our eyes to the standings as the boys start warming up. You can still see their times flowing through. So this is after round 2. Petar Pavlovich of Century Motorsports with 2 really good races so far off the bat, holding out P1 at the moment, with Bradley Wall from Team SRW Motorsports in second, and Tim Nicol from Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing. Now keep in mind, guys, there is a lot more people that have joined the Amateur Series, so this standings board is going to get bigger, but as you can see, pretty close after 2 rounds through the top 10. It's going to be interesting to see some of these new drivers that have joined us tonight, if they throw a bit of the proverbial spanner in the works, and see if they can shake up some of this table. But great drives from everyone so far. Andrew Cowan with a great round 1, but round 2 just not his race, and has dropped him down to 6. But consistency is key across a 9-round season, when you can still hold your own and get a podium spot at the end of the championship.
I think something important to remember as well is, you talk about consistency being key. It's not only key across a 9-round championship, it's key in the supercars as well. With these cars being somewhat unpredictable as you're driving them, you can lose that rear end very easily. So staying consistent throughout a whole season, showing up every week, getting into that top 15, even encroaching into the top 10, could see you, finish 5 places higher up in the championship that you might have been, not being as consistent as you can be in these cars, and indeed in this series as well. So, those are the sorts of things that people need to remember when driving these cars, is be consistent and try and run your own race. Of course, some people have got more speed than others, ShiBBy, but take your moves as they come. Don't try and force them too much, because it can lead to mistakes, and it can lead to, as I like to say, spicy moments, which we love as a viewer or as a broadcaster. You don't really love them as a driver as much.
No, definitely not. Speaking of spicy moments, Tim Nicol not long ago has set the Racecraft best lap at this moment, the provisional Racecraft best lap, with a 1:45.86, a lot faster than some of the times in practice. So he definitely got out there and put the pedal down. Provisional P2, Joe Mahoney with a 1:45.93. Scott Weston in Provisional 3 with a 1:46.55. So tonight being a sprint round, there is no top 10. This will set our grid for the night, as Steve Martin on a full personal best across the board, and he has moved up into 11th. Mark Turner moves up into 16th. Keep an eye on those times, as greens and purple is what we are looking out for tonight. Jason Douglas from LMR Esports had a cracker drive in the V8 Pro-Ams on Sunday. Looking pretty quick at this moment.
Funnily enough, ShiBBy, you mentioned Nicol getting into the 45s. He betted his time in practice by 4/10 on that first really push lap that he's had in qualifying so far. But as we get longer and longer throughout qualifying, you're going to see these times drop down. One thing to remember as well, VIR, it's known as a tyre killer because of those flowing turns. So these drivers having to mitigate their tyre wear in qualifying to get the best time that they possibly can is going to be one of those sort of smart little strategy plays that's going to have to be played not only in qualifying but also in the race as well.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. As we flicked away from Jason Douglas, he actually shot himself up into provisional P3 with a 1:46.22. Good time so far. Still a little bit off the pace of Mahoney and Nichols, but we do still have just over 10 minutes to go for these boys to get some cracking times down. New driver to the Am Series in the V8 Supercars. Be interested to see how he goes, as he is predominantly a GT3 driver. Mr. Adam Hughes from Crisscross Racing has decided that it's time that he jumps in a supercar and gives it a go.
He had a pretty impressive comeback last Friday night in the Racecraft GT3 series, getting involved in a lap 1 incident that he caused himself out at Fuji Speedway, and then just picking his way through the field. I mean, having a little bit of luck due to a couple of penalties applied to some of the top runners, but ended up coming back and finishing on the podium from his raw pace that he had all throughout the race proceedings. So he's someone who has got some pace on his day. It'll be interesting to see how it translates over to a supercar, but I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on today.
Oh yeah, he's not slow in a GT3, but completely different cars. No traction control, no ABS, so the V8 Supercar is one of the hardest cars to drive in the world. That's a big thing. I actually was going to post a video in Discord the other day about cars.com talking about the V8 Supercars series. So this is actually an American channel talking about the V8 Supercars and why they are one of the hardest in the world. Really interesting watch, especially to come from an American channel.
I remember seeing a little while ago, there's a Canadian guy who does videos called Bad Chat. He does a lot of like homemade like mechanic stuff, and he's one of those like old school guys where he doesn't really measure stuff. He kind of just builds it by his eye. But he came to Australia and went to Paul Morris's test track, where he has his race school, and he was walking him through like some of the supercars he's got, even the Trans Am, and it was interesting to see sort of a Northern American perspective on a supercar of how different it is maybe to a road car or even a NASCAR or something like that. But if you've never driven these cars, they are a beast in themselves. Like that rear end can be so difficult to keep a handle on throughout a whole race, and managing your tires. It is a true test, and I think the really fast guys in a supercar, they're really fast. Like it's not even, I don't want to say it's not even comparable, because it is comparable, ShiBBy, but it's like there's just a whole spectrum of people who have got it down pat and are super quick, and then people who are really struggling to get grips with the car.
Tell you what, I've struggled to get grips with this car because the rear end just does not like to grip. You push too hard on that accelerator, even for the slightest, it can be 1/10 of a second, and she is off and around. Tell you what, huge respect goes out to all our AM and Pro-Am drivers. As we see Callum Hodgkinson show you that it's not easy to wrangle these beasts around tight corners. And talking about Adam Hughes just before, he has shot himself up into provisional P3 at the moment with a 146.12. Scotty Rattler Van Loon, also his first lap that he set moved him up into provisional 6 with a 146.78. So these guys are getting some quick times in. Down to 14th place, we are around 2 seconds gap between 1st and 14th. So these guys are right on top of each other. Let's get on board with Steven Sinkovic. See if we can't give him commentator's curse and a throw, and we have.
The spin of which happens once again. He must have a little microchip in his head that just starts beeping and tells him, "Oh, you're on camera. You need to live up to your nickname of
I feel like he's watching or he's listening to the stream, then hears his name, freaks out that he's on camera, and just puts it into a wall, just for our entertainment. Guys, well, we've got a little bit of time here as we get through qualifying with about 3.5 minutes left to go. Love to shout out Racecraft for their qualifying session tonight. And of course, the Racecraft fastest lap in qual, which at the moment, Tim Nicol is holding that and provisional pole. Huge shout out to, of course, simrigs.com. for hosting our V8 Supercars Am and Pro-Am series. And we cannot forget our friends at Dragon RC as our round sponsor, as well as all our stream sponsors: Warren and Brown Tools, Grim Industries, Toyo Sim, and Racecraft. So thank you so much to all our sponsors that keep this wonderful league and broadcast running. Not a
Very
coffee.
interesting. The time that Nichols set before his last lap was a 54. That's just an outlap for him. But the last lap that he did before that was a 45.93. He matched Joe Mahoney's P2 time that he's done so far. And I tell you what, that would almost that. If you're Joe Mahoney, do you feel like that's a little bit of a spit in the face that he's just nonchalantly matched your time that you could have worked so hard to get, Shitty?
Yeah, he's being really consistent with those quick lap times. So definitely it's just like a bit of dirt thrown in the face. Here, mate, look, I've bested your time and I'm just going to match it pinpoint accurate just to show you that, you know, I'm going to be quick. So that's what we want to see. I want to see battles up the front. I want to see battles in the middle. I want to see battles to the rear. Guys, if you are out there watching tonight, thank you so much for all your support. Another way you can help support us for absolutely free is hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe because we are giving away a Racecraft rig and seat valued of $1,840 retail when we hit 1,000 subscribers. Once that happens, we will be putting everybody's names into a lucky dip. So go and get your family to come and subscribe. The catch is you must still be subscribed when the giveaway is called. When we hit 1,000, this is being given away. So get all your friends, family to subscribe because, of course, if they win it, they can always sell it to you. Or if they feel really nice, they can give it to you. So get on to that. So the standings.
Like that.
Oh.
We spoke about, sorry to interrupt, we spoke about spits in the face. If one of your family members won the rig and then was like, oh yeah, you can have it
Yeah, but I'll
for
sell
this
it
much
to you.
money,
Yeah.
that'd be a real spit in the face, wouldn't it?
Yeah, mate, but come on. People are going to make money in this day and age. It's not easy to get by with the cost of living going up and up and up. And, of course, you know, wages not going up. So, but here we are tonight on board with Joe Mahoney from the JTIT Motorsports team. Had a phenomenal race last week and got himself on the podium. Sure, he's going to want to do it again this week. Oh, I was going to say we can't, there's no Andrew Cowan, and
Yeah,
I know
isn't.
why. I know why, because Mr. Andrew Cowan is a muso, has a two-piece band, and tonight they're actually playing their Anzac special. So good luck to Mr. Cowie tonight. You can check out him on Facebook. They have an awesome selection of music they play. And if you're in Brisbane, go check out some of the pubs they play at as well. There's a bit of a plug for you, Cowie. So give me a thumbs up when you watch the broadcast back. But that is the end of the Racecraft qualifying. And we will be getting into gridding very soon. So Tim Nicol has taken out the Racecraft qualifying. Why does that say Melville Equipment? What is going on? Something's happened with when you connected. I think so everything's gone weird.
Yeah, I think I was explaining it before we went live, just to give backstory to the viewers. But I think because I had separate, not inputs, but separate info on my SDK. Once I've connected, it's then changed some of ShiBBy's info. So I apologize if that has stuffed anything up.
It's all right, mate. It's something we can fix, but we are getting ready to grid. The boys are on track. See, there is your grid now. Off the first row, Tim Nichols, Joe Mahoney. Second row, Adam Hughes, Jason Douglas. Third row, Scott Weston, Scotty Rattler. Marty Hansen, Troy Sipple will follow them up. Callan Hodgkinson and Mark Turner will round out the top 10. Petar Pavlovich, Travis Daly, Bradley Wall, Stephen Martin, Brett Taylor, Rick Vigor, Dean Sinkovich, Travis Nielsen, Greg Leake, Scott Perrins, and Stephen Sinkovich and Tyson McAvoy is your race control tonight as we get ready and get ready to go green. That is a big field of amateur cars. Engines are revving. We are ready to go. Green lights on. Bit of a stalled car in the middle for Pecky's Performance, and that's caused a huge pile up. One of the Sim Racing World cars has lost a rear wing because of that. Cold tyres, boys. A big spin into turn one. I will not be surprised if this calls in a safety car. Very loose starting there here tonight at Virginia International. We'll see what happens as the cars continue through.
I'll tell you what, supercars often brings some real carnage, ShiBBy, and it's already produced in the amateur series tonight. What a start it was. Funnily enough, I mean, you know, how can you talk about this? The guy that I shouted out at the start of the broadcast, Troy Sippel, already now back in last place of this race. He's gonna have a lot of work to do here if he wants to try and get back up towards the front.
Definitely does, mate, but if he's as quick as you say, I'm sure drivers love a good battle from the rear. Huge big clump in the middle of the battle pack, so it looks like it might have actually been Troy Sippel that rear-ended that stalled car on the start, and that's why he's plummeted so far down. Few damaged cars. I think most of them are going to try and hold on and not pull into pits at this moment.
Mahoney and Nickel, they were both involved in that incident as well, so these guys have dropped a heap of spots at the start of this race. We could be on for some incredible action here, ShiBBy, watching these guys make their way through the field.
We love a good turnaround story with battles from the rear. As we see Scott Weston on the back of Rick Viggar, two new guys to the Am Series. Great to see new faces out there. Keep an eye on those intervals when ShiBBy puts them up. Are away. Mahoney, Sinkovic. Mahoney makes a move around Sinkovic, nice and clean. Douglas, Daly, DeGoey, Sippel all just pulled into the pits. I dare say that could have been to do with the damage from the incidents at the start.
I think you would almost be guaranteed to be correct on that one there, ShiBBy. I mean, I guess the beauty of it is, even if they finish up towards the back, they're going to be at the front of the field for the start of the second race. So, although it's not over yet for all of the proceedings tonight, we could still be on for some incredible action throughout this race here. See Brett Taylor just sitting behind Dean Sinkovic now. Brett, he's well, I'm really used to Brett Taylor actually being a veterans commentator as we go on board with him now. Funnily enough, he had a massive incident last week out at Long Beach in the vets. Unfortunately, my father rear-ended him under safety car and sent him to the shadow realm. But he's got some great pace on his day, and look at the Mustangs in behind, just chasing him down the straight now, ShiBBy.
I think the damage on Stephen Martin's KFC car there really lost him a lot of speed down that straight, and that allowed Rick to get around him. I'm surprised Brett Taylor, with the rear missing off this ZB Commodore, is managing to get away from these guys and keep them at bay. It's going to be a great battle pack to keep an eye on over the next 15 minutes. And at the front, we've got Marty Hansen, another new driver to the SRW Am League, on the back of Callan Hodgkinson. And I tell you what, when Callan Hodgkinson's on it, he is on fire. And the old Mr. Hughes has managed... Oh, Becky's performance car. Hold on to it, mate. Scotty Rattler Van Loom showing you how to hold on to a V8 Supercar.
There was some incredible car control there. I was just going to mention as well, CXR, they are the real big gainers off that incident at the start there. Now leading this race first and second place. But, I mean, Marty Hansen and Scotty Rattler, Van Loon just in behind for Taipan Esports. These guys are going to want to chase... Oh, sorry. It's got Marty Hansen for Taipan and Scotty Van Loon for Quantum Peakers Performance Racing. These guys are going to want to be putting the pressure on these CXR guys here. I wonder, ShiBBy, if Callan might be holding these guys up a little bit to give Hughesy a bit of a gap ahead.
Mate, that is what teammates do. Using a blocker is definitely allowed as long as you stick to the rulings of movements when blocking and racing. It is completely fine to use one of your teammates to hold people up, because you can see here Marty Hansen is definitely gaining some time on the back of Hodgkinson down that straight there. We have had a drive-through penalty come through for car number 36, Joe Mahoney. for contact, lap 1, turn 1.
So it seems his race just, well, getting worse and worse for him, but hopefully he'll be able to come back from the, I would say, disappointing start for him off this race and have a good crack for race 2 today, ShiBBy.
I think so, mate. It is 2 races, plenty of points on hand. You could definitely come back. Scott Weston, Rick Viggar, Brett Taylor, all in a 3-way train at this exact moment.
I'll tell you what, Scotty Weston, he is one of those. He is a driver that is incredibly underrated on his day. Oh, look at that catch in behind from the Century Motorsports car there. That was great car control. But Scotty Weston on his day has got some great pace on him. He ended up getting his way up into the top 6 of the championship last season in vets just by, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, being consistent. He shows up week in and week out, and he somehow finds his way through the incidents up the order to just get it in good, consistent finishes every single week. So he is someone who may not get on the podium every week or may not get a top 5 every week, but come the end of the season, do not be surprised if he's in the top 10 of the championship.
Just having a bit of a technical difficulty. I don't know if I'm still live, but my internet has just decided to go, no, I don't want to. And it's crashed everything. I've lost connection to the session.
So the broadcast is technically still live apparently, but there's no race on there.
Okay, well, at least the stream is still live, guys. Bear with us. We will get this back up and running.
Yeah, so we still got commentary on there, but there's no visual at the moment. So we'll try and get that back for you as best we can, ladies and gentlemen. I myself am very, well, not averse, but I've had a couple of problems in my time with broadcasting, and things just need to work at the moment. They need to be working, so...
Yeah, you've also got to rely on your internet. And when I moved house, I unfortunately had to deal with some of the worst NBN internet I've ever had, because this house is old and it doesn't have the firmware built into the house. So I've gone from like nice gigabit connection to absolute horrid, lucky to get 10 megasecond upload, and my internet is still having issues with iRacing.
So just to give, well, it's turned into a radio show at this point, but just to give a bit of an update to the positions of this race while we wait to get the visuals back for you. Leading proceedings at the moment, currently for CXR, is Callan Hodgkinson. P2 at the moment now is Marty Hansen. So Hughesy's actually dropped 2 spots there, back down into P3 where he started, as Hansen's actually just taken the lead back from Hodgkinson here. Scotty Van Loon in P4 at the moment, just ahead of Petar Pavlovich. Mark Peck up into P6. P7 is Mark Turner at the moment. P8, Bradley Wall. P9 is Rick Viggar. And then finishing off the 10 is Brett Taylor. Closely in behind Brett is Scott Weston, with Stephen Martin just in behind him as well. Scotty Perrins is in P13 at the moment. Dean Sinkovich, he's up 5 spots into P14 at the moment, so he's had a good start. P15 is Greg Leake. P16 at the moment is Joe Mahoney. Travis Nielsen is in P17. Tim Nicol has dropped down to P18 now, 17 spots off where he started in P1. P19 at the moment is Jason Douglas. Travis Daly is in P20. Steve Sinkovich, P21. And then Troy Sipple, a couple of laps down in P22. And then Reese Tagoe as well, a couple of laps down back in P23. So these guys are chopping and changing a little bit here, ShiBBy, as we get closer and closer towards the midway point of this race.
You share your screen, mate?
Yep, I can do that. So you can give a bit of bit of commentary on there.
I can also add your stream to the stream at the moment, so at least people have got something to watch.
Oh, hang on. Because you'll... Oh, that's right. I was going to say I can change screens, so it's actually a little bit better resolution.
Oh, Sim's loading. We might actually be going live any second. Not sure what's going on. I'm pretty sure my internet just decided to go, no, not having it. Not interested. Sorry. Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. Just session is loading back in.
So Adam Hughes has actually found his way back into P1 now. So there's a really good top 3 battle happening at the moment. Obviously, we'll be hoping to get the visuals back on that fairly soon. Marty Hansen's actually dropped, though, out of the top 3. So it's currently Adam Hughes, Callan Hodgson, Scotty Van Loon here battling it out for the lead of this race. Obviously, Petar Pavlovich will be hoping to sneak his way onto the podium at some point. Rick Vigor now into the pit, so he is the first to jump in here. Be interesting to see how his race goes. ShiBBy, your iRacing app is back up online, and you've just gotten it here on Discord for us, so we've at least got some visuals going.
Yeah, this is just going to have to do for the moment while I get back into the session. We are back into the session. Live on your screen again. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around through that delay. Thank you, Hamish, for getting that up. That's something we can work on if that happens again. We can just quickly go, yep, get the stream up. Awesome. Right, so there has been some great battles as Hamish was talking you through them. So get back on board with the racing. Travis Daly for Performance Sim Racing battling with Rick Vigor at the back of the pack. 8 minutes to go in race 1 of tonight's race. Adam Hughes is still in the lead with Callan Hodgkinson and Mr. Scotty Rattler Van Loon. He must have made up some positions while we were not live.
Yeah, so Marty Hansen's dropped quite a few spots, so he must have had a bit of a moment whilst we were off screens, and so it means that this has now put Scotty Van Loon in a bit of a hot seat here. I mean, he was running in P4 for a little while, but he's kind of gotten his way back into a credible position. But Hansen here looking to put the pressure now on his, well, it's his teammate, but they're not listed as the same team because they're both Type N Esports, but one of them's a GMK Logistics entry. So going to put some pressure now on his teammate, Scott Weston. Both these guys, as mentioned, have had some good pace. It'll be interesting to see how they go starting from around this spot, actually, if they finish here in the next race. So there's quite a few. Oh, it just catches the grass there to Scott Weston, ShiBBy, and that was a good catch from him.
That it was, mate. Shows the skills of even our AM drivers to hold on to these cars, because these are very, very loose cars. Mahoney, Leak, Sinkovic, nearly 3 wide coming over the start-finish line. So I was talking about battles through the start to the rear. Oh, a car slides in front. That was Brett Taylor. Managed to hold onto it and stay on track. A lot of movement within the field.
He's done well to keep that car on the straight and narrow here. Of course, Mahoney involved in that early incident on the first lap of the race, then got a drive-through penalty. So he's just currently licking his wounds a little bit here, trying to make up for lost time and positions. And he's got Brett Taylor. You see him on the outside of the track. He's just
Brett Taylor has come off the track again, and I think he's slowed down just to let these guys through.
So very interesting on that point there, ShiBBy. I mean, giving up spots. I mean, maybe he has some damage. Maybe, you know.
He definitely has damage. He got damage from the initial incident, lost his rear of the car. And I think without that wing and the damaged rear end, it's just not a very settled and happy car, and he's just struggling to keep it around the corners. So we have Mr. Dean Sinkovic fighting with Scott Perez and Joe Mahoney. See, Dean is right on the back of Mahoney now with a bit of a damaged car. Doesn't seem to be slowing him down. 5 minutes left of Heat 1, or the 20-minute race. Dean Sinkovic up 7 places. Your biggest movers and shakers this evening so far is Scott Perrins up 9 spots. Oh no, as I say that, He's had it off and he's just dropped down the field.
It always happens. I mean, apart from him, Mark Peck, Bradley Wall, both of those guys, and ShiBBy, I'm going to do this properly as I would normally do it, just to give some people a flavour of how I like to do things. I like to make it important whenever people make up a lot of spots. Peck and Wall at the moment, they've currently got 8 positions gained in this race. And they've done a cracking job just to make their way through the field, stay out of other people's ways when coming through incidents, and avoiding those moments of, you know, getting lost in your own mind a little bit and having some mistakes. So these guys have had a clinical race so far today. To get up 8 spots in a field that is spread so close together is an incredible achievement.
It sure is, mate. I think the help from a stalled car off the bat and then a bit of a spin on the first corner as well definitely has managed to give some of these drivers a bit of an extra helping hand as well. We are on board with Marty Hansen, who is chasing down Scott Weston, who is chasing down Bradley Wall, who is also missing the rear wing of that Mustang. The rear end doesn't look very happy, but looks like he's still really holding on to this car and sitting quite comfortably in 7th place.
Yeah, there's a couple of those, I like to call them V8 Utes out there missing their bonnets, you know, they've just got the open end, but he's, as mentioned, he's had a good race so far, and his car still looks fairly stable. He just needs to keep his head forward and not worry about that mirror too much, where these guys will be filling it up at the moment with their Taipan cars. So just head down for Brad, and hopefully he can keep pushing forward here.
That's right, he only has 3 minutes left, so at the best we're going to get 2 more laps in before this race is over. Adam Hughes with a comfortable gap over Callum Hodgkinson of about 6.2 seconds. Looks like this man might have to get promoted out of AMS already, as Scott Weston is now right on the back of Bradley Wall.
Oh, you see there the unsettlement from that Team SRW car of Wall there through the mid-corner. He had to squeeze the brakes slightly, and you saw Weston just encroach a little bit on him, but that touching of the brakes, it almost unsettled and then resettled the car once it hit apex. So this car is not healthy at the moment here, ShiBBy, and he is wrestling with it right now.
Here comes Scott Weston, easy overtake, way more speed out of that corner then. Way better run, able to carry speed more, definitely losing that rear wing. You can see Mustang versus Mustang. Scott Weston is just starting to pull as we have a big battle. Mark Pavlovich side by side. I'm supposed to get the track map up. Why didn't that work? There we go. You can see now on the track map where the bunches are, but Peck and Pavlovich on top of each other. Bradley Wall is getting harassed by Marty Hansen now as well. Hansen wanting to take the spot away from Bradley, and he is going to. That moves both the Taipan Esports cars up a position. Bradley Wall still doing extremely well, up 6 spots. Brett Taylor, Dean Sinkovich. Taylor finding a bit of pace back in that heavily damaged ZB Commodore. Right on the back of Sinkovich, battling for 12th place.
I think, you know, we saw a couple of moves get done there on Wall, and I think a couple of those moves, I think he just backed out of it knowing that the car was a bit weakened and he couldn't really put up much of a fight to those guys with almost a perfect car on track. So, but I think the same can be said about Taylor here. I mean, Dean getting a nice move done into turn 1. And he's been showing some fantastic pace so far. That car is looking, well, almost brand new as we go onto the other side of it, where we can see the big damage from just having a couple of scrapes on that driver's side. But see Taylor here, he's not going to give up. He's not going to give up anytime soon here, ShiBBy. He is someone that will fight to the end for any position in a race, whether it's up the front or up the back. He will continue fighting until that checkered flag is waved.
You sure will. And another battle at the moment. Petar Pavlovich. This is white flag. This will be final lap of the race as Adam Hughes crosses the start-finish line for the last time of your first 20-minute race. Petar Pavlovich from the KFC Century Motorsports team. This man fights his way all the way as well as we get back to Brett Taylor trying to make a move on Sinkovic. We've also got Leak and Rick Vigor battling in behind them, but Taylor is going to want to put the pressure on. There's Husey, 22. Husey is on the top section of the track now. Probably about a third of the way through final lap. This is your closest battle. Sinkovic.
Look at Taylor here. Down the inside, ShiBBy. He's only got a handful of opportunities to get this move done around Sinkovic, and, well, Sinkovic has only got a handful of times that he can get the move done now on Taylor as well. So this is going to be a heated battle throughout this whole lap. And I think even after we watch Husey come over the line to predictably, most likely, take victory from this point, we surely got to come back and see how these guys finish off this race, because it is intensifying at the moment.
It sure is, mate. Couple of small battles across the field. No one too close to each other. Hughes will be coming down towards the final corner and onto the home straight as Sinkovic and Taylor still battle it out. Adam Hughes from Crisscross Racing will take the Heat 1 of your 20-minute sprint tonight for your simrigs.com V8 Supercars Am Series. Callan Hodgkinson with a solid drive as well. In second place, Mr. Scotty Rattler Van Loon into third. Great race. Mark Peck up 9 spots to take P4. And don't forget, this will be a reverse top 10 tonight. So at this moment, Joe Mahoney with Stephen Martin hot on his tail still has not crossed the line. Oh, Stephen Martin! Oh. Huge slide! And that's going to lose him that position there, but Joe Mahoney will come in P10, and he will start as pole position for your 40-minute feature race tonight. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties throughout that sprint, but we are back. Travis Daly, Greg Leak with race from these two as well. Tim Nickel, our pole sitter, racecraft pole sitter and fastest lap, unlucky off the start, getting caught up in some of those incidents, dropping down 16 positions and finishing in 17th. Is definitely going to want to put the pedal down, stay clear of first lap incidents, and really stick it to him in this 40-minute race. So no pit stops needed for fuel in that 20-minute. It's going to be interesting to see how pit stops play out in the next 40-minute race. We are going to go into a 10-minute practice session. Where is if RC is listening, can you please tell Mr. Hughes to head to the green room? Oh, he's there already. Adam.
G'day.
Hughesy. Mate, I don't think you should be in the AMs.
Well, I thought I was going to crash, in all fairness, and I really thought it was, but I've somehow managed to not be so much of a potato, much to my surprise.
Honestly, it was a surprising drive, mate. How'd you, you really don't do any V8s, do you, at all? You're very much a GT3 Porsche driver.
Yeah, just mainly GT3 for myself now these days, seeing as the Porsche Cup's retired. So, yeah, I don't drive these things at all. So I'll definitely take a win when it's there to be offered for, so for sure.
Do you think the calamity on the start, because there was actually a car that stalled off the start and a lot of cars did plough into the back of it, and then turn one also caused a bit of chaos, that sort of gave you a bit of the lead and you pretty much had fresh air from then?
Yeah, mate. My initial start was absolutely poor, just couldn't get off the line, and then I saw all the smoke happening behind me and coming to turn one, and I think it was, I can't remember who was in front of me at the time. It had been, I I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but whoever it was in front of me qualified obviously quite a few tenths ahead of me, but I think they just locked the rears, both of them, and they sort of just spun, and I think whoever's on my far left-hand side had nowhere to go, and I think I was literally at the right spot at the right time. I just got very lucky with that whole incident that happened at turn 1, so it's just mainly luck, nothing in it, just luck.
Yeah, so that actually was our pole setter tonight. That was Tim Nicol.
That's right, it was Timmy, that's right.
Yep, just got a little loose on the cold tyres and has turned off onto the dirt, and we had a bit of a pile up in the back there, and while they were all sorting themselves out, you sort of just got to drive away with it. Good to see your teammate as well, mate, Callan Hodgkinson, getting up on the podium. Been watching him over the last few seasons, and I think as long as he keeps getting his consistency up, mate, we're going to start seeing him on the podium a lot more as well, so well done to him. And Scotty Rattler Van Loon, mate, so you're looking forward to settling in for the rest of the season in the V8s?
Yeah, mate. If I don't get instantly promoted to pro, then I'll more than happy to keep going either way. I just need to actually spend more time in a supercar and probably less time getting used to the old traction control button and feature, I think. So
yeah, you don't have that button in the V8 supercar, mate.
No, it's my right foot and a short shift here or there. So I've got to train my brain not to just stamp the throttle. So that's something I've got to force myself to get used to.
Yeah, it's definitely something you can do a lot easier in a GT3 is get on the pedal quite hard as you come through the apex, where it is in a V8 supercar. You definitely want to be a little bit more easy the way you put your foot down. So, but congratulations, mate. First win of the season and in your first race. So let's see what happens, mate, because you never know. With a reverse top 10, you are getting chucked into P10 on the grid, and you are going to be right in the middle. So good luck with that.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, thank you for that. And also shout out to Cal for bringing it home second, and obviously to everyone let me come in and join last minute. I wasn't going to do it, but yeah, thanks to all the competitors for showing up tonight, and to SLW for letting me put my name in the hat last minute.
Well, registration was still open, my friend. It was still open as we saw a huge influx of new AM drivers joining the series tonight, which has been fantastic. Yeah, so we went from, I think it was 15 on track last week to 23 on track this week with a lot of new faces, including yourself. So great to see, mate. And again, congratulations on your first win in Heat 1. But now it is going to be down to a 40-minute race, mate. So get out there and race hard and stay safe.
Will do. Cheers, guys. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
As we say goodbye to Mr. Adam Hughes from Crisscross Racing, your Heat 1 winner. Callan Hodgkins, second place. Scotty Rattler, third. Mark Peck, fourth. Peter Pavlovich, sixth. Peter Pavlovich, fifth. Scott Weston, sixth. Marty Hansen, seventh. Bradley Wall, eighth. And Mark Turner in ninth. Joe Mahoney rounds out your 10th place tonight. And for the reverse top 10, he will be your pole sitter for our second race this evening for your simrigs.com V8 Supercars Am Series. This is round 3 of season 2 in 2023, and thanks to Dragon RC, we are at Virginia International as the guys are doing a little bit of practice.
I reckon I spoke to, on Friday night before the GT event, of course, Adam races in the Racecraft GT3 series. I had a little conversation with Andrew Cowan, who was racing in the series that night as well, and he mentioned to me he was struggling transferring from a supercar to a GT3 car. Of course, he's kind of the opposite of Adam in terms of he's more used to driving the supercar than a GT3, and he was struggling to get to grips with the GT3 car. So I think Hughesy has a bit of a leg up on Cowie at the moment here, because he has gone from the GT3 and he's taken to the supercar like it's nothing. He's just, hopped in, got some pace already about him, and he's just pumped out a race victory on debut in the AM Series here, ShiBBy. I mean, I think Cowie might be a little bit upset with that one there. I think the ego might be a bit hurt off that.
Possibly, mate, but with the thoroughbred that Mr. Adam Hughes is, If anybody else has ever seen him race, especially when the Porsche Cup was around in the 992s, this man is extremely quick in both the Porsche Cup and the GT3 cars. So that driving experience, I still think, does flow off onto different cars regardless of the way they have driven, because he already has the racecraft and skills to know how to get around these tracks. The difference is, as he said, is not having that traction control button that he can turn up and down depending on where he is on the track, and more relying on short shifts and his right foot. So mate, it just shows drivers with other skills in different cars can come on over and be quite quick.
I think, you know, there's definitely some examples of that throughout all of racing, but I'd probably say the most notable one is actually probably here in Australia is probably Shane Van Gisbergen, and the fact that he drives almost anything and is quick is quite remarkable. But I think, you know, Hughesy's done incredibly well there to come in and take victory in his first race in the amateurs in the supercar. You know, we mentioned how tough these cars are to drive, ShiBBy, and well, he's stepped up to the plate and he's produced an impressive victory. I mean, winning by, I think, what was it, about 6 seconds between him and his teammate in P2. So it proves that he has got some natural pace about him, and he's got something to prove now in this series, because, well, if he takes victory in race 2, do you reckon he goes up into the pros?
It's going to be hard, because the way it's done is we sort of gauge it off the first 3 rounds to give them 3 different tracks. They've had 2 top 10 shootouts and 2 60 minutes and now a sprint round. And we sort of gauge it off the way they finish to see. But most of the time they won't get a straightaway promotion unless they're like absolutely outdoing the field by a monstrous amount of time. We had this happen last season with a few drivers in the Am Series, where by round 2 they were blitzing the field by 15-20 seconds every time, and that was an instant promotion into the pros. So I think at the moment most of the Am drivers will stay where they are. Hughesy is definitely one we've got to keep an eye on, because we do know he's quick, but we'll definitely see how race 2 goes tonight and see sort of where he lands. So that'll be interesting. With 1 minute, we've got about 40 seconds left of this practice session before we go live for our feature race tonight. I hope you guys are enjoying this broadcast of the simrigs.com V8 Supercars Am Series. Gosh, I can't say that enough. Again, thank you so much to simrigs.com for being our hosts for the V8 Supercars, not just our amateur series, but our Pro Am Series on a Sunday as well. And of course, our round sponsor, Dragon RC, for being on board. If you guys want to check out anything they do, all the links for all our sponsors are in the description below. Go check them out. Also with simrigs.com, if you want another 5% off your purchases, use code SRW5 at checkout to get yourself another 5% off any deals. And right now they do have some great specials on there, so go check out simrigs.com. As we get ready to grid, your reverse top 10 has been put into place. Joe Mahoney for Race on Oz will be the pole sitter to hold P1 off the angry pack that he's going to be pushing behind him. Mark Turner will be sitting behind him. Bradley Wall and Marty Hansen will sit back on the 2nd row. Scott Weston, Petar Pavlovich, 3rd row. Mark Peck and Scotty Rattler Van Loom is going to be in 7th and 8th. Callan Hodgkinson and Adam Hughes, your P1, P2, will be on holding out the 9th and 10th spot, and that's who we'll be keeping an eye on to see how he goes through the start of this pack. We are waiting for Joe Mahoney to take the grid, or we're not. He may be starting from the pits. Not too sure what's happened there. Lights are going green. Mahoney has not made it onto the grid, and we are off and racing. Oh, there's a car into the wall.
Oh, you see him almost get rolled over there. That looked to be Brett Taylor just getting almost sent onto the grass. He did well to get back on the tarmac.
Few lockups. Oh, another big slide in the back again on turn 2. Oh, that is turn 1. No, it is turn 2. Bradley looks like Sinkovic is heavily damaged. To get back on board, Marty Hansen taking a lot of curb there to try and stay on track next to Jason Douglas. Hughes is still in 10th spot. He has played this safe. Let the chaos happen in front of him. Battle packs all over the field. You can see yellows through oranges. Bradley Wall has absolutely made a meal of that start and has managed to get around both P2 and P3 and launch himself into P1 with a 4-second gap at this moment.
Mahoney is out on track now. I have to wonder, I was going to mention it before the end of the warm-up, if the majority of the field there looked to be taking advantage of that break, maybe just to go and have a bit of a loo breaker. I have to wonder here if Mahoney got caught out there, didn't realise how long he was actually gone for, and has been forced to start from the pits here, and now is at the back of the field.
Which is, unlucky. I think you could be right, though. There's no penalty that I can see that would have caused him to be starting from the pits. So, yeah, you could be right. He's just ducked to the loo, and I suppose that's a good thing about sim racing, isn't it? It's like if you've got to go, you can at least go. Like, that they are in endurance races, they have a special thing in their suit to allow them to go on the go. It's
called their suit.
It's called their suit, yeah.
They just pee in their suit, but I saw it before, actually. Adam Hughes, he's got Tim Nicol right up behind him at the moment. Timmy here, I reckon, would be wanting Adam just to pull him forward a bit, because both those guys have got a similar pace around this circuit. As we see Adam come into the pits
and
now.
Van Loon in the pits.
Yep.
Something's happened. I'm wondering what has caused them, and Rick Vigor has jumped into the pits as well. We didn't see them get caught up with any of those incidents in the beginning, so...
Is there a forced pit stop in
there
this
is
race?
A safety car. We have a safety car out on field.
Tyson McAvoy's had an incident, I think, so hopefully we can get a bit of a replay of that, ShiBBy, just to see if that actually caused the promo department safety car.
Tyson McAvoy is driving your promo department safety car. So
well, then why has he had a crash?
So some tracks, when they come out of pits or slow down like this too much, SDK goes, hey, they've had a crash, when they really haven't. So
it might have been Stephen Martin, actually. It says that he jumped to pits, so...
Yep, I can see that. So it looks like there was a few cars involved.
Scotty Perrins as well has had an incident, but that could just be an SDK problem, as it does happen from time to time.
So, there we go. So there was a bit of a blink.
And that might be off the lap 1 incident, maybe.
It is, yeah.
Yep.
There's a replay of that start again.
He got sent by Dean Sinkovic there.
And I think
he's caught the weeds and lit it up, and it's just shot him across into the front of him.
Unlucky there. It's definitely off that lap 1 incident, as we are still pretty much on lap 1. Cowie, your not so average sim race, has dropped into the broadcast. Thanks for dropping in, my friend. He's here to shout out his team he drives for, Performance Sim Racing. He said unfortunately he couldn't get in time to make tonight's race, but his gig went great though. Mate, I did give you a bit of a shameless plug earlier to go check you out on Facebook, and go check out the music you guys do. And if you're in Brizzy, definitely go and see one of your shows. I'm yet to do that. It does keep hassling me, as the gig that was on on Friday night, I think it was, and tonight we're about 20 minutes from my house, so I will have to go and see one of your gigs, mate. Bradley Wall in first place at the moment. Great start there off the beginning. Let's get a replay of Brad's start.
He was quite lucky here, actually, that Mahoney did miss the start, because it meant that he had clear track ahead of him. Just able to take advantage of that grip off the line here, ShiBBy. And
beautiful launch.
oh, and you see the carnage in behind as well. No wonder. But look at the move down the inside there from him. I mean, that was as clean can get, and just a good start from him. But Turner is he's still within the fight here.
Oh, we have gone live. The safety car got away quicker than expected. We are back live. Safety car is away. Bradley Wall took the field and got out of there really fast. Look at the amount of cars on track tonight for the Am Series. Great turnout. It is going to be some crazy racing for the next 35 minutes. Everybody is thoroughly on top of each other right now.
None of them are going to be letting up here, ShiBBy. I mean, they're going to have to push hard as we see Steve just having to cut the weeds. Doing a bit of lawnmower man action there. Just must have seen something the groundskeeper missed. Oh, look at Nickel there as well, just catching the grass slightly on the curb cam. He is, I wonder if he's getting a bit impatient here in behind Marty Hansen.
There's quite a few, and Jason Douglas on his right-hand side as well.
You see the knock there.
Rubbing is racing. They are super close. This is a very tight track. You can see two V8 Supercars. Be lucky to get a third down next to them without causing any issues.
See, Nickel just slots in behind there. He knows this is a long race. Gives a little bit of a nudge, though, into the entry of the next corner there. But, of course, with just over, or just under, sorry, 30 minutes to go in this race, he knows that patience will be key to getting around some of these guys ahead of him who he's got the pace over. But maybe, ShiBBy, he can just force a mistake to happen. You know, if he can... Oh, just see the wiggle off the curb. That right-hand curb, that's what caused the lap one incident that, with Sinkovic and Martin. So I reckon that curb is starting to spit cars out a little bit there. It might be a bit of a curb of danger on this circuit here, ShiBBy.
Oh, it does look that way. Hughes is around. There has been an incident with Hughes. Perrins has gone off, and Scotty Rattler has gone off as well. A couple of incidents in the back of the pack, so that has pretty much thrown Hughes possibly out of this battle at the moment. He did say he wasn't quite used to the way these V8s get the power down. I do believe, from what I can see in the information, it was a self-spin. We do want to get a replay of it, though. On board with Hughes here. What has he done? He's tried to take the inside line. Oh, no, there was contact.
Yeah, I think that was probably caused by him, though. I mean, he's come in, I don't want to call it a dive, but he's just shot in there, gotten the contact on the outside of his car, inside of the car on his left-hand side, and it's kind of then just pushed him wide and into the rear end of that Pecky's car. So, yeah, it's an unfortunate mistake from him, but plenty of racing still to go, ShiBBy, and he could surely make up some spots with the pace that he's got.
Definitely, mate. And if we have a look on screen right now, Bradley Wall, he's down 12 positions.
He's had a mistake or something happen to him.
He has.
Dropped him a heap of spots.
He's gone. Oh, and he's off track again. No, mate. Having a killer of a race. But yeah, he's had an off track, and that's dropped him down 16 positions now from P1. As we get on board with Mahoney battling Greg Leake from Team Greg. The beautiful green machine. Nice move by Mahoney. Douglas is actually going to try and get that move done as well. And they will be successful to get around the green machine of Greg Leake, as we see Mahoney heavy on the brakes then. Huge big pack up ahead of them as well that they're going to be fighting towards. Tim Nickel, much better race this time, up 10 spots into P7, hunting down Marty Hansen as we speak. Hughes is also in a battle at the back with Rick Vigor at the moment. Hughes is really going to want to put the pressure down See if he can't make up some more of these positions. You may be fast when you've got clean air, but what's it like when you're racing with 20 other cars around you?
See what that moment that Wall had before that, you know, that's one of the moments that we talk about where you've got to be consistent. You know, those small mistakes, a little lock up, run wide into the grass, those are the things that can be the difference between finishing off the podium in the championship or on the podium in the championship, because it can make or break one of your races that then cost you valuable points. We see here, Nickel's gotten past Hansen down the straight, so that angry eyes Commodore there of Nickel, we could see it on the camera angles before when he was following Hansen. He's gotten it done down the straight. He's still under attack here, ShiBBy, though, from Hansen, but we know that Nickel's got the pace to build the gap.
Oh, we say he's got the pace, but Hansen is hot on his tail. And right behind them, Travis Daly, Brett Taylor. Travis Daly making a move up the inside, going in deep. He will actually get that move done. Beautiful use of his braking there. Broke a little bit later just to get that car in there. Taylor's car does look like it has some damage on the right-hand side, though, so that might actually be playing a lot of effect into that move then. Troy Sipple, mate, the man you said to keep an eye on, is right on the back of Taylor now as well.
He's made up 11 spots in this race. The only other person to do that, Tim Nickel, currently in P6. So Sipple here has, well, it's Sipple and Nickel. I mean, didn't mean for them to rhyme, but Sipple here has just had an incredible start to this race. Very consistent, just picking his way through the field. I mean, with 23 minutes to go in these proceedings, don't be surprised if he just continues to make his way through and up towards the front.
Oh, as we see Jason Douglas trying to put a move on Joe Mahoney, might not have been the right spot to do that. That has actually caused him to lose a lot of time off the back of Mahoney.
We saw Taylor there as well. He getting overtaken by these guys, so he had a bit of a moment on exit coming onto the straight. Look at Mahoney here, trying to put the pressure on Sipple. And if he wants to keep the pressure on Sipple, I've seen it how you do it before.
Oh, no, Travis Daly.
Off the track there, but you need a park at 10 underneath the rear wing of Sipple. That's how you put the pressure on him, and that's how you force a mistake. You can't sit back and expect it to happen. You have to force the pressure. You have to turn the valve up on him and heighten that pressure on him. Otherwise, he won't make a mistake because he is that consistent.
Well, Jason Douglas has managed to get around Troy Sipple behind them. Has made the move stick. Sipple is definitely not going to want to give that position away that easy. Oh, a lot of front wheels locking up. See the smoke kicking up off the track as these guys try and push these cars harder and harder. At the moment, Mark Turner is out in P1 from K-Tech Motorsports, and then we've got Scott Weston from Taipan Esports and Petar Pavlovich. As I said, don't let this man fool you. He is quick and will battle to the end. He is now sitting in third, up 3 positions. God, that car makes me hungry every time.
There's a couple of Century guys. Oh, look at that tandem onto the straight. That was incredible.
Oh, looks like Douglas has locked the rear up there as he's come through, and it has slid out and just bumped him.
And look who's there to take advantage. It was Troy Sipple. He's gotten the move done and back up into where he was. I was going to say before we saw that moment happen, Hodgkinson is already up into P4 here, but you mention hungry every time you see the KFC car. There's a couple of those Century Motorsport cars in vets, and every time I get them on screen, it's almost like I just have to say, did somebody say KFC? Because it's just beyond a joke at this point of how often I see them on a broadcast.
Hodgkinson lost the corner, and that has allowed Petar to sneak through. Callum will not be happy about that. That was a self-spun there.
He did well to catch it, though. Could have been much worse than what it was.
Sipple and Douglas are still at it. So Douglas has just got past Sipple again. These guys are backwards and forwards. They are swapping positions like no tomorrow. Fastest lap of the race has just been set by Adam Hughes with a 146.56. Everybody else is around the 147, so Hughes is definitely got a bit more of pace on the field at the moment. But
the other person to be in the 46s, just quickly, is Jason Douglas. ShiBBy. Yeah.
146.99, so he's just managed to squeeze in, but it shows the pace Hughes has. I think racing around all these different cars is sort of throwing him off a little bit. As we get back to the two front runners, Mark Turner and Scott Weston. Scott Weston here in the number 52 GMK Logistics car has hunted down Mark Turner and closed in this gap.
This will be quite an impressive victory for Scotty if he can get the move done and hold it together throughout the rest of this race. Of course, just under 20 minutes to go here, ShiBBy, and well, this race, even though it doesn't seem like it's far from over, well, we've still got a sprint race left of distance to go.
20 minutes, just about halfway through. Scott Weston makes that move beautifully on Mark Turner. Gets on the brakes late. Gets turned in. Oh, but Mark Turner is going to have another dig at him. This will bring Petar Pavlovich right onto the back of them as well. They need to be careful how much they battle here because Callan Hodgkinson is also drawing back up on them. There is lap traffic coming up as well, so these guys will be dealing with that when they get there.
Pavlovich has just got the move done on Turner as well. So Turner's had a moment there. He's actually dropped 2 spots back to Hodgkinson as well. But I guess the big winners out of all of this is Weston and Pavlovich here. Top 2 in this race. We'll see if Pavlovich can drop the gap. It's big damage on his car. Look at that.
That has just dropped him quite a lot of positions as well. Oh, no.
He's just run wide.
Would have seen that off the nose of Petar as he shot off, but I wasn't quick enough to catch it on my end. He's tried to hold it. Lucky that was tyres and not the barrier. He might be okay to continue. It's definitely not going to be great for that car, though.
Are we able to get onto a roll bar cam of that car? Just we might be able to see if there's any steering damage, maybe, you know, a bit of left hand down coming through corners. That'll really be the telltale sign of if this car is healthy or not, ShiBBy.
See on the straights, it does look like he's holding it to the right. He has quite a small angle. Oh, there's definitely, I think, steering damage.
Yeah, that steering is a bit loose there. Could even be some rear end problems occurring as well.
Let's get in his face.
His teammate just ahead of him here.
Come round this corner, we should see. Yeah, he's really having to fight that steering wheel, and you can see there.
Are we on board with the right driver?
Oh, we're not. Supposed to be on the guy in front of us.
Because I could see the livery, and I'm like, wait, no, that's who we're supposed to be on board with. But
the one in front of him, this one.
Yeah.
Mark Turner, not Jason Douglas.
Let's see how he goes down the straight here. Although, Douglas's car did look a little bit unstable though as well, so he might even have some issues going on.
Definitely a lot of side panel damage.
I don't know. I don't think there's. It might be just a little bit of slight left hand down damage on that steering wheel, but he's still in good shape at the moment. I don't think he'll need a pit. Oh, you see someone off the track
Tim
there?
Nicol. That's Tim Nicol.
Look at that. That's a big loss for him. And look at Mahoney here, though. He is under assault from these Quantum Pecky's performance cars here, ShiBBy.
These
they
boys
are putting the They're putting the pressure on right now.
Scott Weston is still holding that P1 position off from Petar Pavlovich at the moment. Callan Hodgkinson is about 4 seconds behind them, so no big worry. Travis Daly and Brett Taylor are at it again.
It was a nice and tidy move down the inside there, ShiBBy.
Great move. Can he hold it though? It does look like Brett Taylor is just not carrying that speed through as well. Definitely might have something to do with that damage there on that right-hand fender. It looks like that wheel is fully exposed and that fender is rubbing on it, so that's not going to be doing great things for Brett's car.
Definitely not something you want, especially on these supercars. Be interesting maybe if the roll bar's being affected by that damage as well, just affecting how the car can turn in and just handle some of these rolling bumps. Of course, this track is a very high speed, fast flowing circuit, but it has got a lot of bumps. So when you get a bit of roll bar or even sway bar damage, it can really affect how these cars drive on circuits like this. The catch from Peck there off the grass.
So we switched to Pavlovich, who is right on the back of Weston. We've also got Sipple. So Sipple has made that move around his teammate. Peck has just let him squeeze through with that loss of traction there. Pavlovich, Weston.
Oh, there's been contact. I have to see what it was like here. Oh, he was
the rejoin.
That was Sinkovic coming back onto the track.
No, that rejoin, I believe, has just caused all of that.
It has. I have to wonder if there might be something from race control here, maybe a bit of an impeding penalty for him. Bit of an unsafe rejoin, maybe. Oh.
It's definitely caused these two to not aware, not sure what that driver was doing.
Oh, I mean, although in saying that, I mean, Pavlovich on the grass as well, having to cut the corner. It'll be very interesting to know what race control's opinion is on this incident as a whole. Of course, I mean, we don't really... Oh, I see him just catch there really nicely. I mean, of course, we don't want to show any favoritism by claiming what we think penalties should be or who is at fault there, of course, but it'll be interesting to see what the call is on that one, ShiBBy.
Once race control have made a decision, they will feed it through to the live feed on your screen. Travis Daly, Brett Taylor, Scott Weston. It's definitely a hard one to say, but they were racing hard and having a car pop out in front of you unexpectedly. Daly around
winner.
Weston, big move. Daly is on the push from Performance Sim Racing. He is up 10 positions.
The big mover though at the moment is Sipple. He's up to P4 now, 17 spots up in this race, and he is only about 4, maybe 5.5 seconds from the podium.
He is pushing hard, mate. What a phenomenal drive. 17 spots up. That's going to be one of the biggest movers we have seen so far this season. And your biggest shakers, unfortunately, are Mark Turner and Bradley Wall, both down 17 positions. So 17 up, 17 down are your movers and shakers. And it is pit stop time, 23 minutes in. We're going to see quite a few guys, I think, pulling through into these pits now. Callan Hodgkinson will be your provisional P1 for this moment, as he has not taken a pit.
He took advantage of that moment between Weston and Pavlovich. He then took the lead after those guys came together. So it'd be interesting to see if he still leads this thing after the pit stops. But Sipple, Peck, Weston and Vigor all taking their stops on that lap. Sipple still ahead of his teammate, still ahead of Weston as well. Now down to P9 and P10 for Sipple and Peck, although Mahoney and Peck are now battling it out here.
Oh, Mahoney's gone wide. Didn't get the apex around that corner like he wanted, and Peck has just made a meal of it and said, "Thank you very much for serving me up that sandwich." Although, looks like Mahoney wants a bite of that sandwich now. am I talking about food? This is going to make me hungry. Stop talking about food.
You're lucky you missed my Phillip Island broadcast a couple of weeks ago because it was a real Sunday roast of a conversation. We spoke about cutting into your Sunday roast lamb and then having your apple crumble for dessert with a bit of custard on it after a couple of moments. But I think, you know, these guys, these battles that are happening, they're almost like the hidden snacks that your nan keeps in her cupboard, you know, a cheeky packet of Tim Tams or even a box of Shapes sprinkled throughout. So there's a heap of these tasty battles going on right now, ShiBBy, and I don't think they're going to be letting up here. I mean, we're 10 minutes to go in this race. We've already seen some incredible action so far, but I think all of these drivers are going to be pushing harder than ever to the end. You know, they want to taste that simulated champagne. Of course, usually tasted at last race. It's going to be not surprising, but interesting to see who makes the biggest push to the end now. Is that Sinkovic in the wall? I think that might have been Dean Sinkovic. It was
Dean off in the same spot again. We just missed a huge flow of guys coming into the pits as well. Wow, Dean off in the same spot. Just locks it up, and that's a downhill battle. You're not going to pull that V8 up. That is going to keep rolling down this hill. And then straight into the race steward's little hut there. Lucky there's that wall, otherwise that could have been dangerous for the steward there.
He was not even phased by that Mustang coming straight at him then. He knew the wall was going to stop him.
So we had a big flow of pit stops coming in just then. See the stops up on your screen. So at the moment, Marty Hansen is your provisional P1. He has still yet to take a pit stop. Out there for 27 minutes. Drive through penalty. Car number 024 for unsafe rejoin. And that is going to be the penalty handed down to Dean Sinkovic for interrupting that awesome battle we were on board for. Fair call, I do believe. Unlucky for the drivers involved, but Hansen has now pulled into the pits. Hughes is into the pits. So Petar Pavlovich is in as well. These will be your last guys to come through. We will be seeing if DeGoey comes through into the pits as well, and he will. So most of the cars pitted 2 laps earlier. I wonder how this will play out. If anybody who pitted earlier is going to need a splash and dash towards the end of the race. But Callan Hodgkinson is actually now your race leader.
He retains his lead after that pit stop period there, ShiBBy. Hansen up to P2. Troy Sipple now on the podium up to P3. He's making such a huge charge towards the front end of this field. It's 6.5 seconds the gap that separates the top 3 of this race with 7 minutes to go. If these guys can just get the pace down and just push hard towards the front, we could be on for an enticing, incredible battle for the victory of this race.
And I think we're going to see battles all across as Adam Hughes is actually back up into 7th place after plummeting to 17th earlier. He's back up there and battling with Scott Weston. Ryan Price has dropped in and said, "Hey, legends, g'day, mate. Hope you're doing well this evening, Ryan. Thanks for dropping in, mate." Reese DeGoey, something's happened. Something's happened. He's just dropped 3 positions then. Not sure why, but he's definitely not moving at full pace. Definitely seems to be something wrong. A car that we haven't seen much of. New driver for PSR. Not new to the league though. Pavlovich back down into 15th. Battling with Bradley. Whoa, big slide. Pavlovich is on the grass. Still holding that damage. There was another car on the grass behind them then as well. Oh, Bradley Wall in the grass. Oh, Jason Douglas in the background. Huge big slide around that corner. I'm wondering if the damage on these cars is playing a lot of impact to the way the cars are handling. Look at the wheel sticking out of the fender on Pavlovich's car there. That can't be doing good things for Aero. The Goey off track again. These boys are struggling with VIR tonight.
I'll tell you what, 55 minutes around this track, ShiBBy, even though it's across 2 separate races, this track can take it out of you even at only, well, 50 minutes so far, but 55 minutes total of racing tonight. This track takes it out of you very easily. So these guys need to keep their heads together here, because the last 5 minutes of this race could be the most challenging of what we've seen so far. Just keeping their heads together now.
Definitely, as the damage sets in, the extra stress of trying to fight those cars to keep them on track is all coming down to the last moments of play. Alan Hodgkinson does have a 3-second gap out on Marty Hansen, who then has a 5-second gap on Sipple. And we've got Mahoney and Sipple. These will probably be the boys to watch to see who is the final driver to sit on the podium tonight. But Troy Sipple, the man who you said watch out for during the start of this broadcast, is the biggest mover tonight, up 18 positions, sitting in P3. What a legendary drive. But Mahoney, who is down 3 spots, does not want to let this P3 get away. He wants this podium finish after one last week. He's going to make the move. Oh,
runs wide.
Over-under.
Sipple gets that over-under done quite nicely there.
Mahoney had making a mistake there. Rick Vigor, Adam Hughes is now up another spot into 6th place, and he is hunting them down quick. Still one of the fastest cars on track, with his last lap being a 1:45.54.
It was unofficial though. He must have had an off track somewhere.
But it's showing the pace he's putting down. Starting to get a good feel for these V8 Supercars. Rick Vigor right on the back of Hughes as well though.
Mahoney's gotten the move done on Sipple.
Sipple's off the track. Sipple's off the track.
Remember I mentioned, ShiBBy, if you can sit underneath the rear wing of Sipple and just fill his mirrors, you can cause a mistake, and it's happened there. It's caused a lockup.
No, mate. He's still stayed in 4th place so far. But that is not good, because Peck and Hughes, there they are. Hughes, mate, putting the nose out, going left.
The late dive, it's gotten the move done, and look at Peck, big spin on the apex.
No safety car will be called, I believe, within 7 minutes of finishing. That has put Hughes back up into 5th, hunting down Troy Sipple now, still up 17 positions. Mahoney has gapped him now with 2 seconds, but you can see 2 seconds is not that far. Callan Hodgkinson has had the gap closed by Marty Hansen with only 2 seconds behind him. Mark Peck has had to go into the pits. Not sure if that will be the end of his race or not, but I'd love to see him get back out and finish this race.
We've seen that mistakes can happen to anyone, though, ShiBBy. I mean, both Sipple and Peck having mistakes happen on that last lap. All it takes is a wheel on the grass or a lock-up of the brakes, and it can ruin the rest of your proceedings. And with such little time left in this race, you need to mitigate your mistakes. You need to control yourself to stay on the straight and narrow to the checkered flag.
Definitely, you can get too comfortable. You might feel like you've got a good lead and get a little bit too comfortable in the car, make one mistake, and then 2nd and 3rd are on top of you. 6 minutes to go, less than 6 minutes to go in your feature race tonight from round 3 here at Virginia International, thanks to Dragon RC of your simrigs.com V8 Supercars Am Series. Absolute cracking race tonight. Lots of drivers on track, all out there giving it their absolute best. Hughes still wanting to make up positions.
Lead him down the inside. He should get this done. We know he's great under brakes, but Sipple is great on the switchback.
Sipple does look like he got a... Oh, I was going to say, looked like he got a better run then, but he sort of backed off.
Look at Hughes' ZB there. Just grips up so well on exit. This guy has just got a real talent for controlling these tires, keeping them, you know, at the peak where they need to be. He's up into P4 now, and he's only 1.2 seconds from Mahoney
That's
ahead.
Mahoney right ahead of him. We can actually see him on screen. Hughes actually has the opportunity here with 4 minutes left of this race, probably about 2 laps from now on in, to take another podium tonight. P1 in the feature, in the heat race, looking for a P3. That could also lock him in as the overall winner.
Although, in saying that, Hodgkinson's leading this race. He finished P2 in the last race, so he may actually take the round
overall
win if he wins this race and his teammate finishes in third.
It's going to be interesting to see as Weston, Vigor, 2 new drivers to the Am Series. Plenty of airtime tonight for these 2 drivers. Have been in amongst the battles all night. Weston down 2 positions. Vigor up 8. This is battle for 6th place. Mixed field through the rest with a lot of gaps between drivers.
Look at Weston here. He's going to go thinking about the dive down the inside, but just pulls it up instead. I think that's almost been one of the lacks of his game a little bit, is he doesn't always commit to those big moves. I think he might think about the negatives of it, but Vigor here nearly runs onto the grass. I think, you know, one of those things that Weston can improve on is just committing to those big moves, just going for them. I know the negatives can sometimes outweigh the bad, but there are certain places you can get it done. We saw Hughes get it done into turn 1 on Sipple. He's putting the pressure on Mahoney now to get up onto the podium here, ShiBBy.
Look at the last lap times, mate. Hughes did a 146.51. Mahoney did a 147.77. There is over 1 second of speed around this track. Hughes has just set the fastest lap time for this session as well. And he is on fire, wanting that P3, fighting for that P3. Thought he might have had a better run there. He's made Mahoney make the mistake. Mahoney with just a tyre off the grass.
I know, but knocks that grass, ShiBBy, and again, I spoke about it. You force the mistakes. That's how you get those moves done. I mean, he forced the car in the inside, got it done. He's now up onto the podium. Unlikely he's going to be able to gain 8 seconds on Hansen ahead of him here, but it was a great move by Hughes on Mahoney there. Just a shame for Mahoney.
Yeah, unlucky. Great drive this whole race from Mahoney. Just make a small mistake and that's all it takes. A little bit of grass. You'll unsettle your car and lose just enough time. The driver behind you to make that move just so much easier. This is white flag. Track map up so we can follow. Callan Hodgkinson, number 28, is going through the top section of the track now, as we are on board with Tim Nicol, who is pushing Brett Taylor. And right in front of them, Weston and Vigor are still going at it. This is battle for P8. This is battle for P6. Weston right on the back of Vigor. Douglas has just come off the track. Not a great finish to his race, but he is still up 4 positions. Nickel. Wonder if he wants to try and get this move done on Taylor. Number 28, Callan Hodgkinson, is coming down to the final corner as Nickel is side by side with Brett Taylor. We will stay on this battle for a couple more seconds. Can Nickel make the move? He can! He's got it, and there's a car in the wall as we see Callan Hodgkinson come across the line for your heat, your feature winner, with Mark Hansen in second, Adam Hughes in third. Nickel has made that move stick, and he's going to hold off Brett Taylor for P7. Joe Mahoney, great drive tonight. Unfortunately, one small mistake has knocked him off the podium. A phenomenal drive. Troy Sipple in 5th, up 16 positions. Your biggest mover tonight. What a solid drive from Troy Sipple. Biggest move tonight, up 16 positions. Your biggest shakers tonight were Mark Turner and Stephen Martin, down 13 positions. But keep your heads up high, guys. Plenty more races to come this season. Scott Weston will slot into 6th place. Tim Nickel up 10 positions. Great drive from Nickel tonight as well. 7th place. Brett Taylor with a bit of a rough start in the heat race has locked himself in an 8th position in the feature tonight. Travis Daly in 9th place. And Rick Vigar will round out your top 10. What a race tonight, Hamish. What a race.
Oh, I mean, we saw some absolutely incredible battles throughout the whole field, ShiBBy. Even the mistakes that were made, I mean, everyone makes some mistakes, but the mistakes that were made were almost race changing. I mean, we saw what happened with Sinkovic and I think it was Pavlovich and Weston there off the lead of the race, but, you know, these sorts of chemicals can mix together to make cocktails of carnage throughout a whole variety of moments in a race. And I think it all came together to make something that was almost a museum-worthy piece of art in terms of the battles, the strategies, and the finish to the race as well. It's a big congratulations to Hodgkinson there to take the race victory. I believe he should be the round winner as well. ShiBBy, based on the fact that he finished P1 and P2 in the 2 races. So a big win for him. It was a big, I believe what would be a P2 in the round for Hughes there, finishing P1 and P3 respectively in both the races. So it's a good week. It's a good round for CXR. And they have just really spread their wings and improved what they can do in these supercars here, ShiBBy.
Definitely, mate. I wonder if Callan felt a little bit more comfortable having a team driver out there, as there hasn't been another CXR driver in the V8. So maybe that gave Callan that little bit of extra confidence tonight to really put the pedal down and get out there and drive hard and take the win tonight, the round win. Marty Hansen didn't get the memo that he's allowed to get out there and do burnouts with the lads. Would have been great to see some burnouts from him, but we will get to talk to our podium. Are they going to do a nose-to-tail burnout? They are. Fly faster, drone! Fly faster! Crisscross special. Bit of a push of war burnout here. Great finish.
It's good to see Callan actually get a good result. I mean, he's had a couple of struggles over the course of in the Wednesday night racing and even on Fridays as well. So it's good to see him actually get a good finish here in SRW and take out a round. Well, not only a round victory but also a race victory as well, and a couple of podiums to his name here today, ShiBBy.
Mate, it's been great to see. As I said during the race, I've been watching Callan race over the last few seasons, and I was even saying, mate, you just got to get that consistency up, and we will see more podium finishes, and he's proven it tonight. Driven absolutely phenomenally and got himself on the podium twice, and also taken out the P1 for the round. So huge congratulations to Callan Hodgkinson. That is not the final standings. That is your final standings for the feature results. We are just waiting for the boys. They are already in the green room. They're all pumped, ready to go for us. So we will start with P3 of Mr. Adam Hughes. Let's grab him and get him in here. Hamish, would you like to take the Hughesy?
Yeah, I suppose so. Adam Hughes, massive congratulations to you on a P3 in race 2 tonight. I believe we spoke about it, me and ShiBBy, that should give you P2 for the round. So I guess making your way throughout the field over the course of that whole race, I mean, it was quite an impressive sight to see. How do you think that one compared to previous races that you've done, even in different categories, mate?
I reckon it's on par with some of the ones I've done in the Porsche Cup series before, just because of that car hasn't got traction control either, so that was pretty eerie, some corners and some laps. But no, look, I'm pretty wrapped with it. Just annoyed that it made a pretty big error on my part, and I think I'd been someone by complete utter fault of my own and got to drive through for it. So yeah, no, look, if that didn't happen, probably would have been a better result. But look, happy with third there, mate. I'll take that for sure.
I mean, I think third place is a pretty good consolidation in in comparison where it could have been, P23. You got a couple of moves done there where we were kind of thinking, or at least I was thinking, can he get it done on the exit here? But it just seemed that you had just another level of tire grip that no one else seemed to have around you when you were getting those moves done. Was it kind of just like you were sort of saving your tires for those moves to be done, and you realized, well, they've been pushing hard to defend. Their tires are warm. Their tires are weaker. I've got the grip here. I can push a bit harder. Or was it kind of hope for the best and just hope you can get the move done on the exit?
First stint was just basically recovery mode. I was expecting to finish in the top 10 and just try and get back to at least 10th to 6th, give or take. Then I saw a few cars were starting to slow down because of other crashes or drive-throughs were happening, and then I decided that on the last stint, like first stint was recovery, and then last stint was going to be just on the attack and just try and salvage what I could, basically. But yeah, I was looking after the tyres. Tyres was a huge thing here, particularly out of, I think it was turn 1, out of the final corner, and then out of the old oak tree corner up at the very top on the massive back straight. Like if you didn't have the grip coming out of the corner, you're just going to be struggling to pull any decent top speed towards the end of the straight. So they were my main concerns, as well as I think it's turn 4 or 5, which leads you onto that real curvy, I suppose, middle sector straight. So yeah, I think it's just if you held the tyres on long enough and looked after them, you could really benefit across the whole run versus just a single few laps sort of thing.
Well, I mean, this circuit is a real tyre killer anyway, so I guess that just comes down to, that's probably one of the most important strategy plays is, controlling and keeping your tyres at the right temp, keeping the wear down as much as you can. You've had a pretty impressive last couple of rounds here for SRW. I mean, finishing on the podium on Friday night for the GT3s, finishing on the podium today. Do you plan on making this a regular thing of chatting to me in a broadcast booth, mate? Because I suppose it'd have to happen again on Friday, wouldn't it?
I'm hoping it happens again on Friday. It's probably more likely to happen on Friday, provided I don't get bloody, taken out or spun by someone. So, can only pray I come visit you again on a Friday, mate. Can only pray.
Very good, mate. Well, a massive congratulations there for a P3 for you and for CXR as well for getting 2 cars on the podium. I guess if there's anyone that you want to thank before we move on to the next couple of guys on the podium, then now's your time to do so, mate.
I'll leave the sponsor stuff to Cal because he finished first, so he gets the notorious right to do so. Yep. Obviously, thanks to yourself, Hamish, and to ShiBBy for chipping in time doing cameras and also helping out with comms as well. Huge shout out to all the competitors tonight for the massive turnout of 23 or 24 cars. That was just absolutely dynamite. And obviously huge congrats to Cal for taking out the 40-minute race win, and to Marty for a solid second place and keeping Cal honest the whole way through. So that was good fun. So thanks to everyone.
Very good, mate. Well, thank you so much once again, and once again, a big congratulations to you. Good luck Friday night, and hopefully we'll be talking again after the race proceedings then. Yeah,
absolutely. Sweet as. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Well done, Hughesy, and I look forward to moving you into the pros.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.
All right, as we move on to P2 tonight, new driver in the league, Mr. Marty Hansen.
G'day.
G'day, mate. Welcome to Sim Racing World and our first race of joining, mate, and you're on the podium.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of luck involved, I think, but I'll take it.
A bit of luck, mate. From what we saw, it looked like a bit of luck and a bit of phenomenal driving and battling tonight.
Yeah, true. Well, I tried to save the tyres as much as I could, sort of thing. I knew about halfway through it was starting to get a bit slippery, so it was trying to keep it clean.
You did seem to keep it clean, mate. How'd you feel driving with probably some fresh faces and also some faces you've raced with? How'd you feel it went tonight?
I'm very happy with the way it went, sort of thing, yeah. There was quite a lot of names that I know from our other leagues, sort of thing, yeah. But it was good to race with some new boys as well, but it was good fun. It
definitely looked like a lot of fun from our view, mate. Yep. Were you expecting to get a podium finish?
No, not at all, mate. I just jumped in to have a go and see what happens, sort of thing. So, even if to get a top 10, I would have been very happy. But to get second, ecstatic.
Well, mate, it's great to see some new faces, even though we don't know what your face looks like, but great to see some new faces coming on over to the league, especially to join our Am Series. This is one of those great leagues where you can just come race, have a lot of fun, and learn a lot about yourself and other people's drivings, mate. So we're glad to have you on board. And you're sticking around for the rest of the season?
Absolutely. I'll be back next week, mate.
Oh, awesome, bud. And what about the Pro-Am series on a Sunday? You had a look into that yet?
Not yet. I thought I'd just wait and see how this one here went, and then I'll probably be joining up for that down the track.
Oh, awesome, mate. Glad to hear. Well, congratulations. First race with Sim Racing World League. You also get to join us in the broadcast here on Sim Racing World TV, mate. So huge kudos to you. Let's give you the mic, and you can shout out all your sponsors.
No problem. Can I thank Blacktown Master, Blacktown City GWM Havel, Too Easy Finance, Simrigs, Sideways Photography, GMK Logistics, and Box and Lock Self Storage.
Nice, mate. Who is your main sponsor?
That's the Blacktown
Mazda. So I'm assuming they are Blacktown Mazda, a car yard?
That's it.
Awesome, mate. So I suppose if you want a Mazda and you are in the Blacktown region of Sydney, go and check out Blacktown Mazda.
Absolutely.
Mate, again, congratulations. And let's see if we can see you in the comm box again next week, mate.
I'll try to. Thanks very much.
No problems, buddy. Have a good one.
See you, mate.
All right, we are going to go to your P1 of the feature race and also your round one winner tonight, Mr. Callan Hodgkinson. Can you drag him in, please, Hamish?
Yeah, that's fine.
My fingers are busy.
Callan Hodgkinson, massive congratulations to you on taking not only a race victory here tonight, but also being our round 3 winner. You seem to be there all night, and you managed to get the car up the front. What was the pressure like, and how does it feel to take such an impressive victory?
Yeah, it was good, man. Thank you. I had a good race. It was good to have Adam there with me in the first race, but managed to stay away from all the carnage and was there at the end. Had a good pit stop, and yeah, all the planets aligned for me. It was good.
You've had a little bit of bad luck over the last couple of weeks in terms of other SRW race series. Do you hope now that this can be a bit of a catalyst for you to sort of move your way up the ranks in other race series within SRW that you race in as well?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I've been struggling a bit with the V8 Supercar just for consistency, and I've done a bit of practice on that and seem to be getting the results. So, yeah,
I think you had pretty much, well, a perfect race almost. I mean, staying clean all day and staying out of people's, I don't want to say problems, but people's incidents. I think, you know, both you and I suppose Adam to an extent as well in that first race, you sort of just proved that staying consistent and staying clean can really be a sound strategy of trying to get up the front of the field. I mean, you know, you had good pace regardless of how clean you were. Do you hope now you can bring this sort of consistency throughout the rest of the season and try and work your way up closer and closer to getting a round win almost every time?
Absolutely, yeah. It's the old story. If you can have no mistakes, you're always going to be somewhere at the top. So being able to do that, yeah, hopefully I can do that each round.
Very good, mate. Well, unfortunately, Adam has given you the job of shouting out all of CXR's sponsors. He didn't want to do it, apparently, according to him.
Yeah, no worries,
of course. But once again, big congratulations to you. And yeah, anyone you want to give a shout out to, now's your time to do so, mate.
Yeah, for sure. So Shunt Scenery, Palmerston Bakery, Jennifer Russell Real Estate, Poolmaster Bayside, Doomed Works, and Game Changer.
And Game Changer, that's a new sponsor that I haven't heard from the CXR team. What does Game Changer offer?
Yeah, I was shouting the sponsors out. I don't know, mate. You'll have to ask Stefan on that one.
You're going to have to get Stefan to write you guys a little list, because I'm hitting all our drivers up with a question about sponsors recently. We want to hear what your sponsors actually do so we can then spruik it on stream for you guys. So
of course.
Everybody listening, if you get on the comms, I'm going to hit you with that question about one of your sponsors. We want to know what they do. Well done, Callan. It's great to see you up on that podium, mate. I have a question for you. Did you feel more comfortable out on track knowing that you had a teammate out there?
Absolutely, yeah. And the first race definitely helped, for sure. So,
because you are definitely a lone wolf in the V8 Supercars series for Crisscross Racing.
I am, so it's good to have someone on board. I was surprised seeing Adam in there tonight. So,
well, it may not be for too long if he keeps this up, but we'll keep an eye on him because we know he is ridiculously quick. But absolutely phenomenal drive tonight, Callan. Again, so glad to see you up getting some podiums, mate. It's been a long time coming. So let's keep that flow going, mate, and good luck for next round.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
No problems, mate. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
Wow, oh wow. What a finish for round 3 of our simrigs.com V8 Supercars Amateur Series here at Virginia International, thanks to Dragon RC. I don't know what to say. You guys watch the broadcast. You tell us how awesome the broadcast and the racing was. You let us know in the comments, in the feed. Hit that like button, share us with your friends and family, because we will be back doing this again next Tuesday, as well as our next race tomorrow night, Wednesday night, the big old double header, thanks to Toyo Sim, with your TCR kicking it off first, followed by your Formula 3. There's going to be some cracking action over there. My friend on comms tonight, Hamish Munro, will be leading the charge with our production tomorrow night, so get over there and support him, the drivers and the league. Would you like to say your farewells this evening, Hamish?
Yeah, mate. I mean, it was good to get in on the Supercars action here for SRW. I mean, the more Supercars action I get to see during the week, I guess, and well, not necessarily every piece of Supercars action, but the exciting Supercars action I get to see in the week, the more I get to see that is always a good thing. I guess the one thing that we want for Wednesday night broadcasting is more entries into both the TCRs and Formula 3s. It really makes for a better quality of broadcast and of racing as well. So if anyone's thinking of signing up for the TCRs of the Formula 3s, I highly recommend you do it, because we want to see more drivers out there having a crack and having a good time, because that double header is it's a big night, but it's a fun night for racing. So if anyone wants to get involved, then please contact one of the SRW boys, whether it's the Facebook page or even try and get into the Discord, because more drivers in there is better for us on the broadcast end.
And registration is still open. You can head to www.simracingworld.com.au, register as a driver for free now. I've also put the link for Discord into the chat as well there for everybody who wants to join in and get involved with the Discord. Please go ahead and come on over and say g'day. See what we have to offer with 6 different series running a week. There might be something that might just suit you. But tonight I have been Nathan ShiBBy Howard. Alongside me in the comms box has been our new producer and a great addition to the team, Hamish Munro. We are signing out and saying stay safe and race hard.